Alright, here's an overview of a character design process in Adobe Illustrator. It's a windy day here, so if you can hear anything in the background, I'm sorry. I'm also not sorry. So jumping right into it, you'll notice that I started off with a very simple sketch on just a piece of, legal pad paper. And I bring that into Illustrator, and then I start doing the ink and outlines. Kind of refining it a little bit as I go, doing my best to make sure all the layers are named well and separated for ease of use. You'll notice it's a little hard to tell because it's so fast, but what I do is I will expand and simplify every stroke because I'm using the blob brush also. I'll expand and simplify every stroke because it sort of gives it this imperfect sort of early 2000s Flash look, which you can just get from using Flash, or you can just simplify your paths directly in Illustrator. And there is a text message I will somehow avoid from you seeing. I will get rid of it in post. Anyway, moving on. Now I'm starting to fill in the colors. I like to use the live paint feature, although that can get a little tricky down the road if there's too many moving pieces and you're not really sure what you're selecting. But for this quick character thing, it works. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding a little belly to the character, and this is a cool little trick where you duplicate the base layer, draw the shape of the layer you want. So duplicate the pink part, draw in a big splotchy version of the belly, and then with that duplicate and the belly, you just use the Pathfinder tool to cut out the intersection, and then you can put that underneath the strokes, and you have something that's nice and tidy. So you can see it's definitely starting to take shape. I made a bold choice to use the pen tool to create a shape instead of just filling that, probably because I didn't want to deal with adding another stroke. Maybe I thought I didn't need it. Adding some teeth in here, and then I think I realized that, the path that's the problem with live paint and layer management, is sometimes you don't know exactly what you're painting on or drawing on, so I had to redo those teeth. No big deal. And then I can just duplicate those teeth for the bottom layer of teeth, add another stroke. Look, I got a mouth. That's great. Finishing the spikes. You can see it's all just freehand. Again, using the blob brush because it creates a shape, like a full shape. I think the other brush gives you an actual stroke, but this gives you a shape, and then you can just use the live paint tool to fill it in. It kind of mimics the old, Microsoft Paint or Flash style, and I think if you're going for exactness, it's definitely not what you want, but for this style, I think it's fun and it works and it's quick. Let's see, just duplicated the old hand. There's a side-by-side for you. Doing a teeny bit of cleanup. I think I was gonna move that shape, but I was like, I can just move it. So I think there I am using the, actually I can't tell. No, I think I just made those little horn details and put them under the stroke and just clean up the eyes. Again, it's not a mistake if no one can see it. Although that's the first time I said that, so, and that box that keeps coming up, that's the preview preferences for the simplify function. Stuff like that is a nightmare. But look, we got a little guy here, and this all just came from a drawing, and just adding in some extra details to make it have a little more character. That is the kind of thing that you can just go Google, like, cartoon dinosaur or something, and you'll be like, okay, they have those things, which I guess are scales, but art is stealing, so find out what other people do to make things pop and just take it. Just take the whole thing. Just filling them in. Here we go. And little jaw spot. I would later find out that that jaw detail was on the wrong layer. So I got rid of it. That's why you gotta be sure everything's named. And look, I'm adding a hat. I feel like needed some extra things for this man, so I gave him a little fedora. Maybe he's like on a trip, nice business trip. Good for him. And I think I thought to myself it needed more, so I started drawing a pinwheel. Made it a little bit more angular. Pretty simple, straightforward process. Adding in my best approximation of what I think shading looks like. And then just change the color of that to red. And then you just duplicate that boy again. And there you go, you got a pinwheel. Pretty easy. Yeah, don't underestimate the power of shading to make things look like they're not total garbage. And yeah, and you put it in his hand, there you go. And we will later animate that in After Effects. Good for us. Also, oh my god, I did not save this whole time after like 40 minutes of work. Never do that. What I'm doing here is I'm drawing a big old black garbage mat pretty much where I want the shading to be. And then I'm using the trick where I duplicate the base color layer, the base layer, and I use the Pathfinder tool to cut out the intersection of both of those. And then I just drop the opacity and I got some shading. Very easy to do, and I think it really makes it, it adds, I mean, it literally adds some dimensionality to it, but it gives it a whole extra sense of depth, literally, metaphorically. Yeah, and here I'm just using the blob brush instead of the shape tool because it's a little more nuanced of a shape. But same process, duplicate the ink, or the color rather, the color shape. See, I'll duplicate the layer that has all that pink in the claw, and then use the Pathfinder to cut those out. Boom. So that's it. It's unprofessional, but that's what it looks like to draw a character. Only other thing I'd say is up top, do as much as you can with pen and paper to get the design you want. Look up inspiration, just keep fooling around with it. It shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. Rapid iteration, and then once you get to the Illustrator application, you should know roughly, or between roughly and finally, how you want it to look. And then it's just a matter of tracing and refining. So cool, thanks for watching. I don't know who this is for, but if you got anything out of it, definitely leave a comment. And I don't know, request something. I'm making characters all the time, so if it's of any use to see what that process looks like, I will happily post those videos.